Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Creatives of Windsor Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Sherdown, and today I'm sitting down with local artist Greg Maxwell.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to sit a little closer to the mic, actually? Thank you. So I guess let's start with when did you start doing art and drawing and such?
I mean, I drew when I was a kid. I always had a binder when I was a kid that I would always have scrap paper in and stuff, and I would just sketch and draw monsters and stuff like that. And then around high school, I just got out of it. I did really poorly in grade 9 art. I actually failed it.
Really?
Yeah, and I was taking extracurricular art classes at the time, and my mom ended up having to go in for parent-teacher conferences and was like, he's in extracurricular. Is there anything you can do about that? So they bumped me up a letter grade, so I got a pity pass.
Oh.
But so I got a D in grade 9 art. And then I knew so many other once I got to high school, I noticed that there was so many artists that were just substantially better than I was, and it was kind of discouraging. So I was just I'm over this. So I gave up art for a while, and then picked it up probably after university. In university, I started doing it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did you take in university?
I took film.
Oh, okay.
Studies, yeah, communication studies. And I started doing just the posters for films and stuff. So if we had a screening or something, I would just design a poster for that. And then eventually I had friends that were in bands and stuff, and they were just you want to do a poster for us? And so What's These What Shores, I think, were one of the first ones that asked me. And I went to high school with those guys, and they've been in tons of different bands in Windsor, Cellos and Middle Sister, Orphan Choir, James Owl and the Villains. The list goes on and on with those guys.
What year was that? You did your first poster for a show?
My first poster was 2011, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, 2011.
Do you know how many posters you've done for shows?
I've lost count. I've done over 300 for sure. I'm probably even closer to 5 at this point. Because I think I was at 300 well before the pandemic.
Damn. But
I don't do as many as I was doing before then. I still do a lot, and actually starting to do a lot more again. But for the first couple of years, that was every day I was doing a poster. And for Beer Exchange especially, I remember Josh from the Beer Exchange was hiring me every day. He'd be like, oh, I got this for you, I got this for you, I got this for you. And so eventually I did, within the 5 years that he was, that bar was around, I did quite a few for them.
Have you gotten quicker at doing them, or do they take some time?
That's a good question. I'd say I could do them quicker, but I'm more picky about, I'm nitpicky now. So I'll look and I'll stuff, I want everything to be kind of perfect now. Whereas before I was just it can be rough and I don't care. But now it's I'll focus on something really for hours. And it'll just be this isn't bugging me. So I'm going to wait here until I fix it and figure out what's wrong with this. And so, I think I put more time into them now, but I probably don't need to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, because people don't notice the little things that you do.
Yeah, but it's gonna bug me especially if it's a poster that kind of lingers and sticks around and people like it. It's gonna I'll keep seeing it and it'll drive me nuts that little thing is not how I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I can see that. I want to. I'm gonna pull up one of the posters from one of the bunch of events that you've done for me. I want to pull up one of the locals only posters, and I want to talk to you about it.
All right.
Here it is. So for the locals only one, I guess the first one you did a guy with a skateboard.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the essence. But then as the show went on, you've put a skateboard on 3 of them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I know because they're right behind you and I'm looking at them. I got every show that I've done over there.
Yeah.
But we'll pull it up so people can see. So I want to pull it up before I ask my next question.
Sure. I mean, I like skateboards. I never got good at it, but.
All right. I always post the poster into the discussion. There it is. So that's number 3. So like you like I don't give you like I don't tell you what to do at all. So like how do you come up with these things from scratch?
That one was actually hard because I tried really hard not to do a skateboard. And I also didn't want to do a skull. And those are like, usually if I'm like, no ideas and I'm just like, I don't know what to do, I just do a skull because they're easy. People like them.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So like, I think that one, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do a skull. I did a skull last time. So I like finished the entire thing except for the 3 kids. And I actually think, I don't remember how I came up with it, but eventually I just found like this old ad for something. It might have even been like an old skateboard ad. And then it was like a kid that looked exactly like that. It was a real kid though. And I just kind of resketched it and then did the goopy eyes and stuff and was like, that's good. And it was the 3rd one. I did three kids. So, yeah.
Do you draw them on paper? Or do you draw them with
I draw them on paper.
On paper.
Yeah, I have every drawing I've ever done.
It's on paper.
Like for at least in the last since 2011, I have every single drawing.
What's that app that they use on the iPad? Like a lot of tattoo artists use
idea.
It. You don't know?
No, I'm terrible with computers. So like I do use a computer. I use Photoshop, Illustrator, but everything's hand drawn first. I mean, like that's a font, but like this was hand drawn.
All the words even?
Yeah.
So like, do you do your line work perfectly by hand or do you make it perfect in Illustrator after?
I try to do it for like on paper perfect. And then, I mean, if obviously mistakes happen and sometimes I have to edit it, but I try to do everything on paper first.
And then so the only thing you're pretty much doing in Illustrator is like the color? Adding the color?
Not even. Like I color it in Photoshop because it's a lot easier.
Okay.
And like the only thing I really do in Illustrator is I'll do like the vector and the like layout.
Okay.
And then I transfer it to Photoshop and then I'll do all the coloring in Photoshop.
Illustrator is one of the only Adobe things that I don't really know how to use that well.
It's a weird one. It's I think because I grew up using Photoshop for so long, it was there was a learning curve because you want to do things that you can do in Photoshop and Illustrator's like, no, this is not the program for that. So you kind of have to figure out what you want to do. And like, there's a lot of Illustrator that I don't know how, like what it does. There's a lot of Photoshop that I don't know what it does.
Yeah.
And I've learned what I need to do and like how I can use those programs to benefit me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I should totally take a course on those programs.
As a photographer, I don't really have to use Illustrator, which is nice. I'd be always nice to learn new stuff. But like you said, like I'm always learning. Like it's funny because like photographers don't like. I use Photoshop a lot, but mostly for like design things. Or taking things out of pictures, like more in-depth photo editing. But like, I don't use Photoshop to edit pictures. Like I use Lightroom.
Yeah.
And if you use Photoshop to edit pictures, you're a monster because like that would take forever.
But like Photoshop was like predates
Lightroom. Yeah. But just for like batch editing work and just like editing a raw file, just Lightroom's the way to go. Like you have your presets and you can copy and paste and it's just like so much easier and you can go through them all. Whereas like Photoshop, you kind of got like one at a time.
Yeah, really, I honestly don't know anybody that uses Photoshop for things other than like design work and stuff like that.
The new, like I've always used it to remove stuff, but with the recent update, like with the remove tool, like that's really nice.
Yeah.
The new AI things, like Photoshop has pretty much been the same over like the last 10 years, but then about probably like this time last year, maybe a little bit before that, when they put all the AI stuff in, it was like, whoa, it's like, this is different now.
Yeah. I don't even know what any of that stuff does.
I guess you wouldn't need that stuff too much for what you do.
No. My job is literally being taken away by AI. So
I won't stop. I won't stop using you. Like, so for me, like what I use is, say, like before, if you wanted to remove something by a photo, it kind of had to be near something where like the pattern was in line and it almost just replaced it. But now with the like remove tool, and it can make more things.
Yeah. No, it's I've seen like tutorials and stuff where they'll kind of show like, look what we did with AI, and like they'll literally take a whole section and highlight it, and all of a sudden it's like the image is gone and it's literally created like the missing pieces behind it. And it's very neat. Like it's the technology is exciting to see like how it works, but at the same time it's also terrifying. Mm-hmm. And like it's also I kind of see it as a novelty, and like especially right now the AI is not there yet, and so you get a lot of people whose artwork just looks the same, and like you start to see like every bar has the same like this graphic designer, and it's like, no, they're just using the same AI program. So
yeah,
but
I see that. I see that for sure.
Yeah. So I think people are eventually going to get bored of it, but I'm sure the AI is eventually going to catch up. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
Like for my work, I'm just using it as a tool for things, but like I never use it to.
Yeah. And that's totally fair. Like there's obviously benefits to it, especially when it comes to like science and data management and stuff like that. I'm sure like it can do things that humans would take years to do, and it can do it in seconds. Mm-hmm. But yeah, with art stuff, it scares me because I mean, art without soul what is it?
And that's one thing I do want to mention is I never would ever use it for my personal work, my artwork. Yeah. I only use it for like my work, my job, like something for a client. They need this out of a photo because it's ruining their picture. Yeah. But I would never use it on like a landscape or something like that. Cause like I've screwed around with my photos. Like I've taken a landscape and like done that generative fill, like put an airplane in and make it this, and it does it. And like, you're right, it doesn't look, but like, that's not, no, you got to go.
But I even love to see like how the prompts are interpreted. And it's like, you put something in and the computer doesn't get it. And so it's like, it's kind of neat to see where the mistakes are made. And you're like, like, cause it's basically transferring language and like what we like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like it's transferring our language into data.
Yeah.
And then it's like so much stuff gets lost in translation. And so like, it's kind of funny to see just the mistakes, and like, you'll say, do this, and it'll like do something completely. It'll put a palm tree in the middle of like the frozen tundra and stuff like that. And it's like, that's funny. Yeah. But yeah,
that'd be cool. Like a joke, like an art show, but like everybody used AI and it was like messed up like
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Like I would go to that show.
Yeah. That'd be fun. Okay. So like, so when you do these, like, so do you ever color by hand, or the color is always in the computer?
The color's always in the computer for the most part. Like sometimes I'll draw like if I do shading and stuff, I'll draw on my drawing on a separate sheet of paper and draw like the highlights or the shadows and stuff like that. And then I'll like put them together through Photoshop or whatever.
Okay.
And so like there's no shading on that. So that's a bad example. But like on some, like there might be extra shading like in the faces and stuff like that. That would be a different layer. But that's like the closest I would get to like coloring digitally. But no, I don't. I'd like to get into painting and stuff like that, but like I've never actually done it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. When you're using, like, what do you use to scan it? Just like a simple scanner? Because I guess
I started with a scanner, and the scanner broke. So then I would just take like a photo with my DSLR. Now I just use my phone. Like because I blow it up. Like I blow it out until like just black and whites in Photoshop. So after I take a photo of it with my phone, it goes into Photoshop. I blow it out, so it's just like black and whites only. So it's just like the line drawing pretty much. Then it goes into Illustrator, vectored, back into Photoshop to color.
Yeah, that makes sense. See, for like when I scan things, usually the only thing I really scan is my film. So that needs to be scanned at like super high quality.
Yeah.
But if you're just taking it to essentially just get your shapes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then make the quality after.
Right.
You can totally just use a phone.
Yeah.
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 Why not? No, that's nice. I guess that saves you a lot of.
Yeah. Like honestly, I didn't with my old phone, but once I got this phone, I'm like, the photos on this are pretty good. I'm like, I think I can just use this. And so I started using the current phone that I have.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like iPhone 12, I think. I don't know. But
Yeah, I know. They're all the same. My wife and I were talking about that the other day. We're like, what phones do we have? We're like, we have no idea.
Yeah, I have but like, I'm also like, I had an iPhone 4S until I had the iPhone 12. And
Whoa.
Yeah, like I've had like 3 phones in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the iPhone 4S was the best phone ever made, so it makes sense why you had it that long.
Yeah.
So I was just telling her the other day, so like the iPhone 4S was amazing, and then they've all been shit. And then we've had the 10 was pretty good, but I've had the 13. Yeah, like the 10 and like they don't break like the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like you would drop them and they'd shatter and they would slow down. And
I've never had any issues. Knock on wood. I've never had any issues dropping my phones and having them break. Like I took like a chunk out of my like the siding of my old one, but like the phone still worked and like the screen was fine and stuff like that. But,
damn. Yeah, that was a tough phone.
Yeah.
And I feel like the new one, like this 13, is tough too, whereas like the other ones before were not tough. I don't know. I've dropped this phone in a toilet before.
That's my biggest fear.
At one time.
It's literally my biggest fear.
It sucks because like it was clean, but like it's a little toilet, so like not only is your phone all wet, but like then you have to clean it, you know?
Yeah. No, exactly. Like I literally yesterday I was reaching for something above, like I have shelves above where my toilet is.
Yeah.
And I had my phone in my hand, and like I was using this hand with the phone in it to grab something on top. I think it was like a candle or something. And literally as I'm doing it, I just picture the phone falling in the toilet, and I just like ran out of the bathroom, just like, no, like threw my phone on my couch and then went back to what I was doing. But,
yeah, I've done it once. It's it sucks. You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So so for everybody who doesn't know, Greg did the logo for the podcast. And then he did 3. So he did this, and then
this one is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he did this one, and then he did, which we should just pull it up, our banner, which is like, well, I use it as the banner for the Facebook page. I'll put it back really fast. And then he did a third one that I've never shared yet, the bridge.
Yeah.
I honestly I was going to do it at like the 1 year mark, because I put this one on like the bottom of all the thumbnails, but maybe I'll just wait till the 2 year mark, because like, why not? So he did this one, which is really cool. It's the bridge, the casino, Dr. Disc. Was that the Walkerville Theater?
No, that one's, I think, the Capitol. I think that one's the Walkerville.
That's the Walker. And then Fog.
Yeah.
This one's sweet, but our main logo, which is the Yorktown Square sign in South Windsor, which people that aren't even from South, everybody's like, oh, that's done Grand Maris. Like everybody notices right away, which I love it. Like that means you just killed it.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great sign. Like I'm not even from South Windsor. Like driving here today, I was like, I don't know this area at all. No. And not to out where.
No, it's fine. That's whatever.
But like I don't know the area. Like it's like the one area of town that I'm not familiar with. But like that's the landmark so like if I can find that, I kind of know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And it's a great sign, and I love like old like Googie style 1950s atomic architecture and design and stuff like that. So I would be devastated if anything ever happened to that sign.
Yeah, they just spent a lot of money When I was in high school, I remember they had scaffolding near it because we would climb it for like a whole summer. Yeah. And then they did again a couple years ago. They like put some money into it to fix it. I think it's lit up every night and has been for a few years, because it wasn't lit up for a little bit, I think. But if you on your way home, like it'll be lit up. It's so nice when it's lit up.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's it's perfect because it's the same, because it says welcome to, and then Yorktown Square.
Yeah.
So that helped.
Yeah.
So what did you do? Did you just Google it and then just redraw it from scratch?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now these were all separate layers. So I didn't draw this as one solid entity or maybe I did. Maybe I don't think the words were, well, that was a font.
Podcast is a font.
Podcast was a font. Creatives, I believe, was mine. That was just me writing.
You hand wrote that?
I believe
That's
so.
Crazy.
Windsor, I think it was based on a font, but I think I retraced it because I didn't like how it was.
So how would you retrace it? Like you pull it up on your phone and put a piece of paper over the phone screen or on an iPad and then just trace it or print it out? Yeah. Do that. No, that's cool. Yeah, I've always like really found that like form of art cool to like draw and then bring it in after and like you can go so far with it, right?
Yeah.
And then it allows you to like, it's nice because then you can like mass produce the pieces. You can print it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
You don't just have the original. What do you do with the originals?
The original drawings go in shoe boxes. Pretty much every drawing I've ever done has just been on like computer paper. Sometimes I'll tape them together. If I'm drawing like a big thing, I'll tape a couple pieces of paper together.
Yeah.
And then usually when I'm done, like I fold them up. They all end up paper size again. They go in a shoebox. I have a bunch of shoe boxes. There's like 2 at my parents' house, and there's a bunch in my closet at home. And like, so like every drawing I have, I believe I still have. I've never given any of them away. I don't throw them out, and they just stay in these shoe boxes, which is actually good because I just lost like 200 gigabytes worth of like files.
Do you have it backed up?
No.
Oh my God.
No, like they're gone.
What?
Yeah.
200?
200 gigabytes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was a freak issue. I was moving stuff around and like I didn't have a new hard drive yet and my old hard drive wasn't connecting because I had updated my operating system on my laptop. So I was waiting to get another hard drive. And one day, like this was literally like a month or so ago. And like it was a really hot day and it was humid and I think like my trackpad slipped or something and I accidentally just deleted like everything on my desktop. And like I had a file that was pretty much all my artwork for the last God knows how long, but 200 gigabytes worth of stuff.
It's just gone.
Gone.
From the computer, not from the hard drive, or from the hard drive?
From it's gone. Like it's not on any of the hard drives. Because I had left it on my desktop hoping to get another hard drive to move that stuff over.
So you lost it from the computer.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Did you try to send the computer somewhere? Or?
I talked to a few people and they were just like, you could do it. And there was no promises. It was going to cost a lot of money. They were going to have my laptop for too long. And so it just got to the point where it's just like, I have all the original drawings. I didn't lose I don't think I lost a lot of client work. It was mostly my personal stuff. But yeah, I lost a lot.
Even if like you lost, like say for example, you lost like this logo, like in the emails between me and you, it's there.
Yeah.
So you can always go grab it like that.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of people, when they found out that happened, I got a lot of people contacting me and being like, I have all the files if you need them. And, for I don't think I lost a lot of client work, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was mostly personal stuff. That's another reason. If it was client stuff, I probably would have tried harder to get it. But when it was personal, it's like, well, like I have the original drawings. I can just, if I really needed to, I could just try to recreate the artwork.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
you're always making new stuff anyway.
It's just easier to move forward.
So I have like a very detailed, I've talked about this on here before. I have a very like detailed hard drive list. I'm on 32 right now for my career. It was by 2 terabytes at a time.
Okay.
So that's like
3 now.
70,000 gigs.
Yeah.
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 But mine mirror each other 3 times. So everyone's 3.
Yeah. So I've right now I only have literally. Well, right now I don't even have data to put on the hard drive. So, but I have one hard drive that has all my old client work and stuff like that. So I should definitely back that up. But
they have like those big towers that are like 6 or 8 terabytes, and I know that they'll mirror each other automatically. But that scares me to have that much on one. Like I always just buy these. There's 2, if it breaks, it's only 2, and I always have 2 that match. So like, if number 27, 28, and 29 match. So if number 27 gets corrupted, all I have to do is drive to the store, come back, grab 28, drag it back onto the new one, and then I have all 3 again. I used to only have it like 2, and then one time something happened to one. So for about 2 hours, it only existed in one place, and it freaked me out. So now I'm in 3. But which is like kind of overkill. If I didn't have a business, I wouldn't be able to do that. I also probably wouldn't have the need to do that either. But like that's pretty expensive, but I need to do that for work. So
right. And I also feel like you shoot primarily. I know you shoot some film, but do you shoot primarily digital?
Primarily, yeah.
And so like that's what I mean. Like everything you have is there. Like you don't have. Yeah. Like I have the original drawings. Yeah. So like as long as I have that, because I thought about like framing the drawings and selling them off, and I'm glad I never did, because for this exact reason, I know I'm safe for now. So
yeah, and when I build like my frames, I always photograph it, just because like it's technically like I build them myself, so they're technically like one of ones. The frame is, the print isn't, but the frame is. So I like to have a picture of it. Yeah. Before I
I do the same thing. Like if it's something that I know is like original and like I want to remember it, and I know it's a 101, I'll do the same.
I started doing this like new type of work. Since I'm done this book, I'm not doing any like major projects for a while. I'm just like having fun trying a million things. So I started doing, I think I just posted on my story. They're framed up. I'm ready to post them now. But I started doing Polaroid lifts, if you know what that is.
I know so like are you scanning Polaroids?
So let me grab a Polaroid so I can show you. I'll actually grab the lift.
Sure.
Okay, so Polaroid lift. So yeah, like an old school Polaroid like this. So within about 15 minutes after it's shot, it's completely developed, but it's not stuck to the plastic yet. So you cut all around it.
Gotcha.
So you cut the border off, and then you drop it in like boiling water, and then you like use paint brushes and you push the water, and it gets under the plastic. You peel the plastic off, and then the image is like floating around, and you put watercolor paper under it.
Okay.
And
I know exactly what you're talking
about.
You
paint it, and then you get like these.
I'm shocked at how well it works.
Yeah, me too. Cause like that's completely the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like obviously it's got like the edges and stuff and like and the line through it, but like it's still so clear. And
so it ripped when I was doing it because it's delicate,
right? Yeah.
And then but it's at the same time like it's so, I'm gonna show everybody. It's like so tangible, like it's really hard. Like to do each one takes like 20 minutes, and then if you let too much water move around, it'll all bubble and do like it just looks like a bunch of goop. And you have to like move it again, and you're doing this in like hot water, and then like once you kind of get it on the paper, because like it needs to be centered if I'm gonna frame it. So yeah, here's another one. Once it's like kind of centered on the paper, I like grab the top and then slowly pull it out of the water, and then it usually stays where it is. And sometimes I can like hit it a couple times. But like
now, is it circular because of
the Polaroid was a circle?
Okay,
like a circle frame.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. If it was that one, it'd be a square.
Okay.
I just yeah. So those have been like super fun. So those are frames. So when I sell those though, they're one of ones that I'm getting rid of, which is why I bring this up.
Right. Yeah.
So like I don't know, maybe
that always scares me too. Like I've always wanted to get into doing painting and stuff, and I'm probably going to do that soon. But like the idea of getting rid of something is so terrifying to me. Although I'm really easy at getting rid of stuff. I don't know why. I don't hold on to stuff.
No, I mean, I throw it everything, but not my work.
Like I do collect stuff, but not like at the same time, I have like very little sentimental attachment to most of my stuff.
Yeah. Like when I think about all the things I own, my work is the only thing I really care about. Like my photos.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if I like gifts and stuff, obviously like I keep, but like when it comes to my own stuff, especially artwork, there's only like one piece that I have that's never sold, and every time I put it in a show, I make it more expensive because I don't want people to buy it. But it's just this like frame that I found, and it looked like feces, but it wasn't. It was like supposed to be like bread or something. So like I kind of fixed it up. It wasn't supposed to be a frame. I turned it into a frame. I put glass in it. And then I put like a little, like it just was like a Batman font, like the old 1960s Batman. Whereas like when people would punch and it would be like flat. And it just says like, okay, I don't know if I can swear.
You can swear.
Shit. And so like, and I put it in this like poop frame, and I still have the poop frame. And every time I put it in a show, like it's always like $100 more than the last show because the idea of like getting rid of this poop frame is terrifying to me.
Yeah, see, it's because that's like my work too. It's like you can print that shit a million times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the frame.
It's that frame, yeah.
Which is when I did my Tofino show, I had a rule where every single frame had to be different, and I built it myself. So I did a design every time, and I was like, I can't sell these. So I put one wall of the Tofino book launch was all my like regular frames with the photos, and they were all for sale. And then the other wall was all those, and they weren't for sale. But then, like as I'm doing this California book 3 years later, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't need these Tofino frames anymore. Like I should have just sold them. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's tough. It's like when you're in it, it obviously has sentimental meaning to you, but at the same time, it's not like you can't get rid of it later on. Like you'll figure out something to do with it.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And like it might be old to you, but it's new to somebody else.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like doing giveaways with that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Just like older art pieces that are just kind of laying around.
Yeah.
Or put them in like an Art in the Park booth and make them cheap.
Yeah.
It's like everything that size is usually $60, but this one's 20. Yeah. Just to, just unload them all.
Spring cleaning.
Yeah. With these emulsions though, so before I frame those, I did scan them like with my photo scanner. Yeah. So I do have like high quality scans. I could reprint them. It just wouldn't be the actual emulsion, which is like, I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, all digital kind of sucks in that way, but at the same time, like my film scans, I don't know. I feel like you could lose all those too. Like,
and that's the thing. Physical can suck too because you put it in a garage and then there's flooding, fires. Like, think of how many times you read about like some vaults of like Capitol Records loses so much of their catalog. And I think of like Tom Petty lost a bunch of like I think it was before Tom Petty passed away. Like Sony, there was a fire and like he lost like tons of his old masters and stuff like that.
I think it's like the Library of Alexandria or something, like back in history, one of the biggest libraries that had everything burned down.
Yeah. Well, and then like, think of all the stuff that like in wars and stuff were like gone. Yeah. And like they're still looking for our old artifacts and paintings and stuff that
they're just gone.
Nobody knows where they are. Were they stolen? Were they burned up? Nobody knows.
Yeah, nothing can last forever, no matter the medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think it's Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer book. There's like no originals because the library or the thing it was in burned down, or there's only like one, or there's only a couple or something like that. And it's like, yeah, it can happen with anything, no matter how big or small.
Yeah.
Or the medium, I guess, which is like, yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah. And like it's at the same time, it's like you don't want to, like, do you really want to have like a huge warehouse of all your like stuff? Yeah. It sounds stressful to me.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. I always think like when I go to Dan's place, like the Nile, it's always like, well, if you go there on like a normal day when he's working, he has stuff everywhere. But like when you go for like his parties or his shows, it's always so clean. And I'm like, dude, where's all your stuff? Like you make so much shit every day. Like where is it all?
Yeah.
He must just sell it, I guess.
I guess. I have no idea.
He probably produces like the most art of like everybody in Windsor. He makes so much work just all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it for so long too. So like I'm sure he probably has stuff from like decades ago that he's still got.
Yeah, somewhere.
Like, somewhere.
Man, when I had him on and I was talking about his process, like the amount of stuff that he paints by hand just like blew my mind. Like I thought, because he has so many crazy printers, and I thought that he did a lot of like stencil work and stuff, but like most of that stuff's by hand. Yeah. And it's like, it's just perfect. Like he did those skateboard pill bottles, and I was like, did you just like print a stencil? And no, by hand. You did that by hand? Yeah. They all look the exact same. How did you do that?
Yeah, I caught him spray painting like there was a mural once, like downtown, and I was surprised at like how fast he did it, and it was like it looked exactly because I saw the original drawing of what he had planned, and like to see it finished, I'm like, how did he do that without like big like scaling it or like putting like a big grid on or like using a projector or something? Like that's what I would have done.
Yeah,
like I did one mural once, and I didn't use a projector. I just freehanded it, and it shows. Like I can tell when it's like I can tell where the errors are. I'm sure everybody can, but
yeah.
Like
when you're driving into downtown, like the new one, then how they like I don't know 3 years ago, like across from Manchester, like on the wall, like with the Pistons thing, like he said that I think he said like all of that was by hand. I'm like, dude, you did those logos by hand, like the Pistons logo and stuff.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That is.
I think he said most of it was by hand, or maybe all of it. I can't remember. You can go back and listen, but like enough of it was by hand that it like blew my mind.
Yeah, I can do it small, but I also like I have like you should like see the amount of pencil marks before the ink goes down. Like it's like there's a lot of erasing after the drawing is done.
What do you use a Sharpie as your final, or do you use like what do you use?
I like those like Micron. I forget what the company is, but they're like little. It's like a type of like archival ink pen. They're very common. Michaels sells them.
Okay.
A lot of illustrators use them. I don't know what they're called, but like you can get like all the different like tips and stuff like that, and different sizes. And usually I only like use like 3 different sizes, but yeah, like those. I forget what the company is. It just says Micron on the side. But
if so, you said that you want to start painting.
Yeah, I've been sort of doing it for like, I've been painting like personal stuff, just like around my house, just to kind of like get an idea of like how the medium works, and just like how long do I have to wait before this acrylic dries? And it's like, cause like I never painted growing up. Like I was always more drawing. So yeah, like it's more just kind of like, so I've been just painting like pots in my, like for like plants and stuff like that. And then eventually I'll start putting it to canvas, but I have all these canvases like in my living room.
Oh, really?
It's like, yeah, they're just sitting there, and I'm like, I'll do something with them soon.
Yeah, I know you're scared about selling the originals. Like, obviously, you have to photograph them, like the canvases. Yeah. Katie Butler, who I had on, her paintings are amazing.
Yeah.
She has a good process. She photographs all her own. I've photographed things for artists before.
Because if I remember correctly, she said she like photographs it in like sections and then puts them together.
If it's too big, so you get more detail, which I can show you how to do that in Photoshop. You already know how to use Photoshop. It's easy.
Yeah.
You just use the, well, maybe you've done it with you just use the automate and merge, and you select them all, and it'll and stick them all together.
I didn't know that.
So
I don't know how to do that.
Say for example, I was taking a picture of like a Dodge Ram, or let's say a GMC Sierra for an ad that was going to go on the Rensen, like just absolutely astronomical size. Like my maybe like the quality wouldn't be good enough for that, but it's a still photo with no movement. So you would like put on your lens, like just, and then you would just like, you would take it in like 6 sections. So you go like like each corner or 8 corners, and then you just have pieces of it, and then you just Photoshop, automate, and it puts it all together. Now the photo's like 100 megabytes.
I mean, that makes sense. I just would always be worried that like if your camera was like at a slightly different angle than the other photo, like is that what Photoshop figures out on its own? And like,
yeah, it does a pretty good job. If you were really worried about that, I think you could probably, like if you did a tripod.
Like I'd almost want to put it on a tripod with like a lift and then like go like,
yeah.
Like, but like even still, like there's room for error there.
See, the thing about paintings, I think Katie said she will stand on like a ladder, and she shoots in direct sun, which can work too if it's 100% direct. Be nice and clean. I've done them for artists in here. I just have like, there's a hole in the wall for a nail. You see it? I'll just stick a nail in, put it there, set it up on a tripod level, like tripods have levels on them, and then shoot it, and then just crop it after. Cause like, like scanners are so much easier, but obviously you can't scan a painting. So
I mean, they do have those big. I'm pretty sure the university has one. I've talked to people about it. They say they have one, but
I see it.
well, because like I'm sure like the engineering department has to, because they would have to scan like blueprints and stuff like that. And although I'm sure blueprints are all done on computers now, so like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, that makes sense. I'm always scared shooting art. Like it's freaking hard, man. The last few I did in here turned out well, but you know what's scary is like, say, what if you have a white border on your canvas? Now I can't use this wall anymore.
Yeah,
I got to use a black thing.
Yeah,
or whatever. I guess as long as the color's not on your border, I could put any color up and do it though.
Yeah,
as long as it can separate. That's something that Photoshop's getting better too. You can probably just click remove background now, and it'll do it.
Yeah,
which is just crazy. But I'd love to see some paintings.
Yeah, that's soon.
Yeah,
soon. This year for sure.
Yeah. Okay. What do you have coming up on Friday? This
Tomorrow?
podcast won't be out yet, but
yeah. So tomorrow is Friday 13th. So we're just Murad, myself, and one other artist, Cinnamon Bats. We're just doing a quick pop up, like from 7 to 11. It's Friday 13th. I love Friday the 13th. I love everything about it. Even when I was a kid, before I even know who Jason Voorhees was and all that stuff, loved Friday the 13th. And yeah, only comes around once in a while. And so we're celebrating by just having like a pop up at Craft Heads.
Nice.
Yeah. So should be a good time.
Work up, chilling. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it should be a super chill event. Like,
I really want to come, but I can't. I'd like to.
Yeah, Craft Heads is great. Like a little chill place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see all the new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I'm really sad. I live downtown. Like and like I saw them like moving all the brewery stuff out like back like months ago. And like it made me sad. So I mean, hopefully new beginnings and great successes going forward. But yeah, we lost a little something there.
Yeah, it does. It does really suck. I want to do another. I either want to do a locals only before it closes, but at the same time, I don't want to like steal wall space in the last couple months.
Yeah.
But we could do it just for one night. Yeah. Just put your stuff up and come take it down on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see why not. But or just do it at the new spot. Like maybe if they're gonna open there in December or whatever, like we can do it like in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't know the logistics of like I've kind of seen like sketches of what the new space is gonna look like, but nothing in detail. So like I don't know like what the wall space and stuff like that's gonna look like. But
talking to Brian when he was on here, there's gonna be wall space in both, I think.
Okay, good.
And they're sharing a liquor license, Brian said on here. So you'll be able to bring your drinks back and forth, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's I'm kind of like I am kind of excited about what the new layout's going to be like because it seems interesting. Again, I'm not going to give away anything.
Yeah.
But it's going to be neat to see how they change that space around.
Yeah, I'm excited. So the last locals only was amazing, but also like made me really sad. Like we had capacity before doors even opened.
Yeah. That was the
4. When was that? March?
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
It was good. And my poor wife was working the door and everybody was getting mad at her because she was telling them to like, they can't come in.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, is Tom here? Let me talk to Tom. And I was like, dude, what do you think? I made the rule? Like, I don't want you to come in here. Yeah. Like, I don't care. Like, it's the rule. Like, so it sucks that people couldn't come in that wanted to. I hate that. So I have a plan.
But it's like, I also love that though, because it shows that the event was a success. And like, I mean, if you're turning people away, that's a success.
Yeah.
But also fog is kind of like, and even craft heads too. Like if there's a band playing at craft heads and you can't get in because it's at capacity, you can hear it. You can see it through the windows. You can stand outside. And like, that's what I love about fog and craft heads is when they're at capacity, people just stand outside and like they can still kind of get the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Now, usually those are in March, so it's not as fun when it's a snowstorm, right? Because I know the third one was a snowstorm, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that one was actually fun too.
Did I do them a year apart, 3 and 4? Yeah. Right? I don't know. They're on the wall.
February 2nd and March 3rd.
Okay. So yeah. And then the first 2 were in November. Yeah. So yeah, so I came up with a plan the next day, and I've talked to Tom, and he's down. So I'll just say it on here. I've never said it anywhere, but of course, if the people who own the businesses are down for it. But my plan was to do soft bands at Fog, and the bands that normally play at Meteor.
Yeah.
You pay cover at either $10 and you can go to both.
And then overflow goes to Meteor. That's actually pretty smart.
And just chill, like acoustic sets are at Fog.
Yeah.
And all the art's at Fog only. So if you go to Fog and you can't get in, just go to Meteor, watch the band, and then just come back.
Yeah.
And try to offset the band. Maybe try to have them play at the exact same time. Because if you do them back to back, everybody will just go from one to the other and it'll just stay full. Mm-hmm. And then vice versa. If I don't do it at Fog's current location, I'll just do it like a Fog craft heads thing.
Yeah.
And but then we can do art in both places, and you can just funnel in and out. That'll be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what the capacity is going to be at the new places.
That I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah. Very curious. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be more than Fog.
Yeah, Fog's got the smallest. I think it's 65. Yeah.
For it having the reputation it has. 60 people.
Yeah, is it 60?
I think it's more than that. But
it might be only 65.
Well, I think it's like because depending on how many like bands there are and stuff. Like sometimes when you especially when you see bands that have like 10 members, and it's like, well, there's most of the capacity right there. Well,
that's the biggest problem with these shows, and this is why I do these shows. It's impossible to be a dead show because we have 25 artists and 3 bands.
Yeah.
So even if nobody brings anybody, if you're that's freaking what's that? Almost 40 of us.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened with the snowstorm one. Like it was packed, and yeah, it was a snowstorm, but it was because it was mostly artists. Maybe each artist brought 1 or 2 friends each, and so it was still packed. And I remember having a lot of fun at that one. I think I love snowstorms for some reason. I love feeling
like you're
semi-trapped.
Yeah.
It just kind of for some reason ups the atmosphere a little bit. Like snow, rains, anything. It's I don't know, natural disasters bring people together somehow. But
yeah, and I remember when Tom advertised that, he's like, I know it's a big snowstorm, but Fog is always the best in snowstorms.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah.
And you know what? We were at capacity all night, but we just rode it.
Yeah.
We didn't turn people away. And that was the best.
Yeah.
That was the best. I had to get pushed out of this because I got there so early that I had to get I was trying to leave. I parked right out front, and these guys were walking down the street, and they had to push my car out.
Oh, yeah.
At 2 a.m. to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was super fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the plan for number 5. I could do these things forever because they're so fun and everybody likes.
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
But especially just because it is kind of caters to my tastes in the way of because it's always skater sort of punky atmosphere, and that's what I like to draw. Those events, I always kind of know what I'm gonna do because I can do the skulls and the messy artwork and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the grosser, the better, because it fits the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That art drink shop we did at Pressure Drop, that was a lot of fun. The Christmas one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to do that last year, but I think he already knew they were closing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss that place.
Yeah, that was fun too. Just somewhere else that let me do whatever I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. They were very chill.
Yeah, all these places just have never said no to me ever.
That's what's great about Windsor. I feel that's Windsor's really good for in many different capacities, whether you're a band, whether you're a filmmaker, whatever. It's like, I remember working on a film years ago, and like they were like, oh, we need to shut down this whole street downtown for one shot. And the city was just like, yeah, go ahead. And like, you can just like, so many businesses, I don't know if it's the same now, but like so many businesses, you could be like, oh, can we have your business for like a day so we can film here? And they're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, great. And like, people are super reasonable. And yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's still like that, but it was like 10 years ago.
I think it is.
Yeah. For the most part, like I've, at least in like art stuff now, people are still very accommodating. And yeah.
It's funny, like when I kind of like came into the scene, like I wasn't good at all. I didn't have like any backing. Like nobody knew who I was, my work, anything. I was young. I was only like 18, 19. Mm-hmm. And like Tom, Brian, Angela from Milk never said no to anything.
Yeah.
Anytime I asked, they're just like, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Never been told no, I couldn't do something somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what's great about Windsor.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, we help each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many of those shows did you do with Dave Hool upstairs at Villains?
The House of Vomits?
Yeah.
I think we did 3.
Were those always on Friday the 13th?
No. I think only one was.
Okay.
I think the first one was on April 1st, so April Fools. That was the first one. Then I think we did one in October. And then we did one on Friday the 13th. But I don't remember. I know we did. So House of Vomit, we did Bride of House of Vomit, and then Son of House of Vomit.
Okay. And those were like, so you say like you really like those were my favorite shows I've been to, like art shows.
Those were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Dave and I have very similar tastes.
Yeah.
Like we'll literally come up with an idea, and the other person just goes, "Yep." Like it's not like or like, well, let's tweak that idea. It's always just like, no, that's exactly the way I pictured it. Like, this is what we're doing. And like, we bounce ideas off each other. We all love the same kind of music. We love the same kind of movies, and even though like, he's not significantly older than me, but he's a few years older than me. But we kind of had similar upbringings in the way of our tastes of what we listened to growing up and the cartoons we watched. And so we both love Masters of the Universe, and we both love Creepshow and stuff like that. And, so it was just, it kind of just happened very organically, and it worked. And our stuff is very similar, but different enough that you can kind of tell who did what. Yeah. And, but they complement each other. And Dave's one of my good friends, and I love working with him. So yeah, those were a lot of fun. I'd like to do more of those in the future.
Yeah, you guys are like
we always say
collab.
we're going to, but yeah.
Yeah, you guys gotta.
Yeah.
It's not like either of you have slowed down with your art. You still do it just as much.
Yeah,
so you guys,
I think that's the problem, is that like we're both so busy that it's just like.
Yeah, he's at a booth every weekend.
Yeah, I know. Like
everywhere you go, he's there,
and he's killing it every week. Like he's doing so well. Yeah.
I think the thing is too with you guys, like you guys are similar mediums. Like you can both draw from scratch. That helps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he's way better than I am. Like all his portraits and villains are insanely good.
Oh yeah, that's all him. Every single one, right?
Every single one.
Yeah.
And like he does all the trading cards of all the portraits. I think I don't have all of them.
Are those all pencil drawings?
I think so.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so he does trading cards of all of them, and I've collected most of them. I think I'm missing like 20 out of like over 100.
Wow.
But yeah, and he's got like the machines, like the card machines, like all over town. So yeah, he's like, I'm always impressed with what he does.
Yeah. I was next to him at Art in the Park.
Yeah.
And couldn't be like next to anybody better.
Yeah.
But it sucks because this year, well, it doesn't suck, but this year I had a wedding, so I didn't do Art in the Park, so I lost my spot.
Yeah.
So now I'm not next to him anymore.
Yeah.
Being next, not only does people specifically go to him, nobody walks by his booth and doesn't stop, and they stay there forever.
Yeah. Well, because he's got so much, and there's the whole nostalgia factor, and it's great. I was next to him for Dropped on Droulard, and like it's just funny to see, because you get like the young people who are buying it because they want something kind of like that vintage look, and they might know certain things, but like most of the ones that I have are stuff that like was gone way before I was even born. So like I remember like Checkered Flag Racetrack, but like it closed in 1992. I was 5, or I don't know if it was 1992, but like I was very young when it closed. I don't think I ever went. But I love that shirt, and the fact that it's Windsor makes it all the better. Yeah. But like then you get like the people who are buying it just for these vintage t-shirts, but then you get these people who do remember all that stuff, and then you see their eyes light up when like some 60, 70-year-old is walking by and going, "Oh my God, I remember all of this stuff." Yeah. And so it's neat to see just the Windsor history. It's so local centric. I like that he's kind of expanding into like other parts of further up, closer, like London, Toronto area, and then he's also got Detroit stuff, and yeah, it's sweet. No, all of his stuff's great. He's got like a really creative pool at his house. I have not been to his house since he put the pool in. I don't think. So he did it. So him and like my mom have mutual friends. Oh, okay. So my mom just put a pool in based off of his pool. Oh, really? Yeah, she like awesome. Went to his house. He like showed her everything, told her what he did, and then she just put it in like a few weeks ago. Yeah. Based off his pool. No, he's like everything he does, he puts so much thought into it, and like I'm very envious of this the work ethic he has. Yeah, I heard his organization for his shirts is unmatched. Yes. Like he can do, like they're all just like in like it's just like perfect. Like he can find anything in like a second. Oh yeah. If you were to see my setup, he'd probably cringe. He'd be like, dude. But it's funny because like as a photographer who in a digital age, my organization is on a computer. Like it's how the things are organized in folders on a computer, not so much physically. I'm not organized in any sense of it. Yeah. My apartment's not particularly messy or anything. It's like an organized mess. I know where everything is for the most part. Yeah. But like files on like I just throw stuff into folders. I don't half the time it's just like DDD. Oh my God, you're killing me. Yeah. Oh, it's But I think a lot of artists are like that. Creative brains are not typically... Yeah. Sometimes I'll go back and I'll fix and clean everything up and give it the proper file name. But like in the moment, it's just like, I just need to finish this. Like I don't care what I call it. I'll be able to find it. I'll be able to look for it and find it. But over like now that I'm kind of in like my 10th year, I find myself having to find things that aren't in memory anymore because it's been so many years. And I've learned that I want to be able to type for them. So I really keep that in mind and allow myself to be able to type for things and just, it comes up immediately instead of remembering, you know? Yeah. 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 I try to at least make the folder like the buzzword. Yeah. So if it's like a palm tree, I'll like put palm in it. So at least I know like to check for palm. Smart. And then, yeah. Smart. Yeah, I never name my like personal photos though. They're just in their folders based off dates. Yeah. But I don't have like a significant amount of those that like finished ones where I can't, you know, just find where it is. And you know what's funny is if I go to my website and then I like all my photos are on there, like ones I would need. Like if I needed like, I don't know, that one with the dirt bike, I know where it is on my website and I just like open in a new tab and then the file name will be in the thumbnail and I'll copy and paste that on my computer and then I'll grab it. Yeah. No, I should probably start doing that because I've been looking for stuff, especially now that I have lost all those files and I'm now trying to look for stuff. That's when like I now realize that I should have been doing that all along. So I'll probably start, but right now I'm in a transitionary period of trying to get myself organized. So we'll get there. That's all right. I want to take a break for a second, change the battery on the camera. Like seeing how like facial expressions and stuff like that. It's like, it's the same, like you could listen to a stand-up routine, but I'd rather watch a stand-up routine. Like I love the novelty of like a comedy record, but I'd rather watch a stand-up routine.
Yeah, no, 100%. Are you still at Dr. Disc?
No.
You're not there?
No, I quit a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How you were there for a long time though, right?
7 years. Yeah.
Wow, nice. Yeah. Was that fun? Like
yeah.
being around music all day?
It's a great job, but I mean, the grass is always greener kind of thing. Like so many people would come in and be like, oh yeah, like this must be the greatest job in the world. And I'm like, it's still a job.
Yeah.
Like even like graphic design, like working on my own, it's still a job.
Yeah.
Like it's great. I can do my own hours. And if I don't feel like working a certain day, I don't have to, but like, it's still a job. You're still dealing with problems. You're still stressing yourself out. But yeah.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I think it's just more mental that I've been able to separate. Like I do the exact same thing for work and for my art, which is, well, I guess what you do too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More than I think a lot of people, like we do it and there's that nice divide. Like in my head mentally, like I can really separate the two, which is nice. Like after dinner, I would never come out here and work on the computer on like work stuff. But I can come work out here on personal stuff, which is weird because it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but like when it's personal, you don't have to worry about what anybody else thinks.
That's true.
You just do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And that's, as long as you're making yourself happy. So like, yeah, it's the same. I can work on my own stuff a lot more. And I mean, it can be equally as stressful. But
or more.
Yeah, sometimes. But like I find with client work, it's the hardest part is being like, are they going to like this? So that's where I get a little more stressed, and that's where the problems come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. When you did the Olivia Rodrigo poster that I picked up, because I love Kiss and I like Olivia Rodrigo. But
Same.
Didn't one of them post it?
Gene Simmons did. Yeah.
That's cool.
That was cool. I remember waking up and literally my phone, I never get any. I get like maybe like 2 texts in the morning. And like I woke up and I had like 17 texts and like a bunch of messages, and I'm like, what happened? Like who died? And then it was all very positive. So it was good. I was happy about that. And it was funny too, because it wasn't even posted that late, but I happened to go to bed early, like the night before. And like, yeah, it was very cool. I grew up listening to Kiss. I picked up a guitar because of Kiss. Like they definitely had a big influence on me. And yeah, that was like a no-brainer. Like her record came out and I remember trying to think of what was a good idea for the poster that year. And yeah, that was like, I saw her tongue sticking out and I'm like, done. Like, that's exactly what we're going to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They were like one of my favorite bands growing up. Detroit Rock City is like still like top 5 movies for me of all time.
Yeah. I think Detroit Rock City is what got me into Kiss too.
Yeah.
I remember like she takes the record and she throws it in the trash at the beginning of the movie, and then the record spins and Love Gun plays. And it was the solo during like the opening credits, because that opening credit sequence is amazing. I haven't seen the film in 20 years easily.
What?
I have no, like, yeah.
We watch it once a year, at least.
We literally was just talking about this with a friend like a week ago, and we were talking about Detroit movies. RoboCop's the best one, but we were talking about RoboCop, and then we got on the topic of Detroit Rock City, and I haven't seen it in forever, but that opening sequence is so perfect, and like I wasn't around in the 70s, but it's like there's so much pop culture of the 70s in that opening, and I learned more about the 70s just watching that opening montage than I did reading books or anything else. And like I loved it so much, and I love pop culture. And like the solo came in, and I was just like, I want to learn that solo. And so never even picked up a guitar, and like eventually I did. Eventually I learned the solo, and like like Ace Frehley is definitely the reason I know how to play instruments today.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie, like my grandfather's really into like rock and roll. My parents aren't into music that much, but he is. And I used to go to their house when I was sick. Like, go to your parents, grandparents when you're sick. And I was in like grade 5, and he gave me that DVD, and I watched it, and I was like, Okay, yeah, that's
Might have been a little inappropriate for a 5.
for a 10-year-old.
10-year-old, yeah.
I just wanted to go to high school
Yeah.
and start a band, which I didn't do.
Yeah.
But
I did do that.
did you? So you play guitar?
I do, yeah.
What band were you? Were you in a band?
I was in a band in high school, and like into college, we were not very good. But that is kind of how I started meeting pretty much almost everybody I know today, and like who I'm still friends with, or because of playing in bands and like going to shows and stuff growing up.
You still play?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Just by yourself?
Yeah, I don't really play. Sometimes, but for the most part by myself. I don't play live or anything like that.
What do you like to play?
Like instrument wise, or or style.
Like do you play like just like songs you like and just? Or,
yeah. I just kind of like keeping on it, like making sure that I'm constantly still getting better and making sure I'm not losing anything. Like I didn't play guitar. There was a good chunk of time where I didn't play, like easily like a good 10, 15 years where I gave it up. And so I'm just kind of getting back to like where I was when I was like 18, 19, where I was probably like playing hours a day and benefiting because I was playing hours a day. So I've now picked up a few other things along the way. And so I'm probably better now than I've ever been. So I'm happy about that, but, yeah, like I don't have any like plans to do anything maybe, but for the most part, it's just for me. It's to like get away from everything else. I like to do that to just keep my hands busy and yeah.
Do you play like stuff that you make up, or do you play, like your favorite songs?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of bands like that do you like to play their songs?
I mean, everything. Like before I got here, I was playing like Iron Maiden on the bass. Like Iron Maiden has great bass playing. It's really fun to play. So I was doing that, but like I love playing like stoner rock, and like Sleep is one of my favorite bands. So like sometimes I'll put on like their album Holy Mountain and I'll just play along with it.
That's cool.
But like I love playing like bluegrassy stuff too. Like I have an acoustic, so I play on that and everything. Like I try to play. I try to keep myself busy and play everything. And like I'll play my own stuff and try to work stuff out and try to write songs, but then nobody hears them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I was trying to teach myself like this winter. Like I've had a guitar, but I've never learned how to play. And then this winter, I was like playing around a lot, teaching myself. Then I kind of stopped. I don't know.
I mean, as long like literally, if you give yourself like 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, just to kind of, because even like especially when you're getting started, it like your fingers hurt. Like if you're not used to playing, your joints hurt. Like the tips of your fingers start to blister. So you wanna like you give yourself a break.
Yeah.
So like, and I find like sometimes when I can't get something, I stop playing, and then the next day, the first time I try to play that thing again, I'll get it the first time.
Yeah, I noticed that too when I started playing again a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't do this all winter. I was playing every day for months, and why can I do it now?
Yeah, because like muscle memory is a huge part of it. I don't know any theory when it comes to guitar. Everything's muscle memory. And so sometimes I'll forget, like if I haven't played the song in 10 years, I'll forget, but I'll be able to pick it up quickly because it's like my fingers will remember more than my brain does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robbie, when he was on here, was very interesting. I was asking him about playing drums and singing, and he said he'll like literally just like his arms doing this, and he'll just completely just forget that it's a part of his body. And then he just lets his limbs do their own thing while his brain only sings.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like, that's basically it. You learn the song so well that you stop thinking about the song, and then you just focus on what you need to do. But
I want to ask you this. So the songs I've been like learning on have been pretty much all Black Sabbath songs.
great.
Maybe some White Stripes stuff too. Would you recommend like another band that would be like easy to play along to start with?
That's tough. I honestly, I don't even particularly love. I mean, I do. I have a lot of respect for them. I loved them when I was in high school. But I honestly think that one of the reasons I got pretty decent at the guitar was playing Rage Against the Machine songs. I was really into Rage Against the Machine when I picked up a guitar, and like the weird, like kind of start-stop staccato sort of playing that he does. You have to get every note right, or else it doesn't work. And so like it's more glaringly obvious when you mess up. Whereas if you're just playing messy chords, it's messy chords are great. I love messy chords.
The louder it is, the more
exactly.
You mess up.
And like exactly. So, but like I always found that because of Rage Against the Machine, that's just for me. Like I know that helped me getting better when I was in high school.
Okay.
And but like I don't know. There's like Dinosaur Jr. is great, but that might be too complicated.
I think I have to know them too.
Yeah.
Like I know every Black Sabbath song. I can hum you the entire.
Black Sabbath is great. Like those like even White Stripes. Those are two bands because White Stripes is very simple, and like they're like the messy loud sort of thing. I mean, so is Black Sabbath, but Black Sabbath's a little more intricate.
It's got like a lot of. I'm not trying to do solos, but like those 2-finger power chords are easy to do.
Yeah.
Whereas like adding the third makes it trickier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. White Stripes was my first concert I ever went to.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you see what he's been doing in Detroit? He's been doing these pop-up shows. Yeah.
Can't nobody can seem to get to them, but although he played Hamtramck last two weekends ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
And it was like a free show, and I know a few people that managed to go to that.
Was it 1,000 people or 4,000 people?
No, this was. Well, I don't know. I have no idea.
It was small, very small.
Well, this was like outdoors.
Oh, it was outdoors.
Yeah. So like it was like
the Ann Arbor one.
Yeah, that was that one. Yeah. And but it was like the Hamtramck Fest.
Okay.
Like Sloan played the one. I went to the Sloan show the night before, and then the next day he was playing with like his old band, the Henchmen, and he like came out for the encore and played a few songs. So I knew a few people that went to that.
That's sick. The St. Andrews one looked crazy.
Yeah. But like he's like the amount of positive stuff he does for Detroit is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like I love him based on that alone. Like he saved the Masonic Temple, which that was where I saw, because it was the Elephant when Elephant came out. I went to the like Elephant release show.
Damn. Yeah. What year was that?
I don't know. 2002, 2003.
How old were you?
15.
Okay. Yeah. I started really getting into them in like 2000 and I don't even know, 12 or 13.
Were they still a band at that point?
2011 they broke up.
Okay.
But in 2011 I was 16, 15. So, yeah. That's when we like really got into them. Yeah. My wife and I, most of our music taste is the same. Most of it, but we both really love them.
Yeah, they're a fun band.
Yeah, great. And because it's funny because like the last show we played in Detroit was Little Caesars, and then he's been doing all these really small ones. It's super cool. I almost feel like that's kind of the trend now, is doing these like undersell shows, which are good and bad. It's great to see these like bands, and like I saw the Hives at L Club. That was a huge undersell show. I love that. And me too. Favorite venue for sure. And actually, like they played, and it was such like I don't know how many people can fit in there, like 100, 200. Yeah. But to see the Hives, knowing full well they can play to a way larger audience. And I know like Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth just played there like a few months ago. But it seems like all these bigger acts are doing these like smaller venue tours, which is great. Unless they're like really big artists, because then it's like I'm never gonna get tickets to this show. So yeah. I saw the Sheepdogs at L Club, which was the smallest venue that I'd seen them at, and they're great every time. But that was my favorite one. Yeah. L Club's great. I've seen so many good shows there. I've never seen a bad show there. Actually, I haven't. Yeah. I went to a Daniel Romano show there that was just like great show, but just nobody was there. Really? Yeah. Like everybody was from Windsor. Like we looked around and we were just like, we know everybody. Isn't he from Toronto? He's like Welland area. Okay. But like Niagara Falls. But and like
that was like, it was more so just disappointing that he wasn't getting the crowd that he deserved. And then like a year or two later, he started playing Meteor, and like he played Meteor like 2 times in a row, and they both sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sebastian from Hutch loves him.
Yeah. He's
his
crazy
favorite.
talented.
The last show I saw at L Club was in like the winter. This band called Sir Chloe. Have you heard of them? Female lead singer.
I've not.
They're really really indie, really good. My wife, she's like a huge fan. I never listened to them yet, and she's like, my favorite band's playing, and she was on the wait list for tickets, and then she got it like the day of, and she called me, or she she works right there, like across the patio, so she like ran in. She's like, can we go to this tonight? And I was like, yeah, let's go. And then I started listening to them because the show was so good.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with the Hives one. I got free tickets for that, and like was supposed to go, and then it sold out. And like we were super disappointed because we wanted to go. We knew that was going to be a cool like place to see them at. And then like the day of the venue, like L Club posted on Instagram like, who wants door passes? And so I messaged them. They're like, here.
Nice.
I'm like, yeah, we got 2 free tickets to see the Hives.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I saw a show there was Twin Peaks, if you know them.
I saw them at Riot Fest in Chicago.
That's where they're from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw them like almost 10 years ago at L Club with Robbie and Zach from Hutch.
Nice.
Yeah, we went to that. I think they won free tickets on the radio.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That doesn't, like, I mean, it does happen still, but like, I miss when like that was like a normal thing. And now it's like people just post it on Instagram or whatever. You gotta share so many times or something like that. But
I forget. They either got them from like Murad when he was at C-Jam or from Dan. I can't remember, but the 3 of them were going, like they were going with Sebastian, and then Sebastian couldn't go, so then I went. It was that was awesome. Very fun show. Yeah, I love shows.
Me too.
We just saw Iron and Wine a couple weeks ago at Masonic.
Awesome.
Yeah, have you seen him?
Never.
No.
Sorry, I'm gonna burp.
That's okay.
Trying to think of the last show I went to. I know I just went to one. Oh, I saw Slater Kinney like a couple weeks ago.
Where was that?
That was at the Masonic. No. Yeah. No, the Majestic. Sorry.
Majestic. Okay.
I saw a week before that, I saw Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello at the Masonic.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he just play Hall & Oates songs?
Yeah.
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 That's cool.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
I've seen Elvis Costello before, so I was more excited for Daryl Hall. And it was kind of a surprise thing. I wasn't supposed to go. And then like the day of, my buddy was like, hey, you want to go?
Those are always fun.
Yeah. And like I've seen Elvis Costello twice, and both times wasn't supposed to go.
How old is Elvis Costello?
Oh, he's got to be 70 something.
Okay, yeah, he's really old. Yeah, okay. I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw the Marshall Tucker band like the day before we saw Iron and Wine, if you know them.
Yep.
They're one of my favorites too.
Yeah. That was actually when I started at the record store, I learned that Marshall Tucker is not a person. And like, because everything was organized by last name if it's a person, and I was looking for Tucker, and like obviously it was under M, not T.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess you would know almost everybody from working there, like bands, or at least heard of them.
Yeah. At least I'll know by their face at least. Yeah.
No, that show was great. That was one of my favorite shows I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. They played like jam rock. They probably played 8 songs in an hour and a half. 12 minutes a piece. And it was great. But that's my favorite kind of music, though. Like, I like a lot of stuff, but 70s jam rock is my favorite.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, there's not really a genre I don't like.
Yeah. Have you listened to Post Malone's country stuff?
I'm not.
No. I've been meaning to, but I haven't yet.
Yeah. I do like country. I'm not super familiar with Post Malone. Like, I know his name. I can kind of pick it up if I hear it on the radio. But like I never did a deep dive or anything like that.
I like his his music is just like the hip hop stuff, whatever. Like it's not bad, it's good. But if you listen to him, he during COVID he did that Nirvana show. Like he was at his house and it was live, and Travis Barker was at his house playing drums, and they had a guy playing bass, and Post Malone wore like a dress, and they just did Nirvana songs like a concert.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's cool.
And then he did, he sat down with some like old like blues country musicians and covered 2 country songs for like a fundraiser that Matthew McConaughey was doing for Texas. And that was like the first time I'd heard him sing like country stuff. He did like a Brad Paisley song, and it was amazing. So that's why I was kind of excited for this album that came out 2 months ago that I haven't listened to yet. But
I'm kind of feeling this country resurgence. I love country music. I'm not like a huge like new country fan, but like anything that sounds like it's influenced by the 60s country stuff or like 50s country stuff, that stuff I love. So like any new band that kind of like, if you can tell they're like clearly trying to sound like the 60s, 70s, like 50s country.
yeah.
Johnny Cash, George Jones, Waylon Jennings, stuff like that I can get into. But like the pop country stuff, that's like the one genre that I probably can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like super even into the old stuff. I haven't spent too much time with country. Like I said, like a lot of my musical influence comes from my grandfather, and just like absolutely just like no country music. Never. He's like one of those, you know, just like rock and roll only. So
yeah, like my parents were the same way. Like they're both, my dad's more like soul and like Southern rock. My mom's kind of all over the place, but was more rock and roll and stuff like that. Yeah. And, like when I got into country music, they were just like, what are you doing? Like playing Hank Williams stuff. And they're just like, this is like, we spent our lives trying to get away from this. Why is our son listening to this? But yeah, there's something about it. There's just the songwriting and storytelling is great. And it's always so sad and just simply perfect. Like it's like they say exactly what they need to and nothing else. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
I do like I, again too, like I did get really into like hip hop and rap in like high school. Yeah. And still listen to it to this day. I don't really follow too much of it anymore. I kind of listen to like the old stuff I used to like, but
there's still a lot of hip hop that I love. The hardest part I find with hip hop is that like I grew up in the suburbs. Like I don't relate to what they're talking about a lot of the time. So that's like the hardest part about hip hop for me. But like, so I always gravitate more towards like the nerdy hip hop where it's just like, where they're just talking about everyday things and like, they'll just talk about nerdy stuff and yeah. Like the weirdo guys. That's what I kind of gravitate towards.
I listen to all of it, but my favorite like rap and hip hop is like 90s East Coast more than the West Coast. The West Coast is like, the 90s is like more like raw and like, you know, like winter. I don't know. They sing like it gets cold there, you know? Yeah. Like Big E is my favorite, and like Big L and those guys. Yeah. Wu-Tang Clan,
obviously. Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan is so interesting. Like they're just like, I love when like any band is like their own weird thing.
Yeah.
Or bands that like start genres.
Well, and then also if you're a Wu-Tang Clan fan, you basically have an entire discography of, because they have all their Wu-Tang stuff, but then they have all their side projects. And it's like, that's a year, easily a couple of years worth of listening. Yeah. So if you're a fan, that's just opened up a bunch of windows, and then all the collaborators they have, and then you just like, it's so easy to, that's kind of what I did was like Wu-Tang was the group that I started with, and then you kind of just, they collaborated with these people. So then you start listening to them, and then you kind of branch off and figure out what works and what doesn't and what you gravitate towards.
Yeah. They have a show on Disney Plus. It's like a year or two old, maybe 3 now. And it's just like, you know when they make those like biopic films, but it's a TV show about them starting. It's really cool. It's good.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's actually kind of pretty violent. Just like them being in Staten Island in like the late 80s and start like rapping, but also like selling drugs and it's a good show. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Did you have you watched all like the biopics that have come out over like the last decade?
I'm not a huge fan of biopics. No? Unless the artists are deceased. I don't know why it matters.
I feel you.
I think if they're not passed, I find that it's like they don't have like legacy status yet.
Yeah. Like
even though there's plenty of people who deserve it, who are still alive, it's like well, like the story's not over yet.
Yeah,
so like why are we putting a period on a sentence that's not done?
Yeah, like the movie ends with them starting to make the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so like obviously like the Bohemian Rhapsody was a big one.
That's my favorite.
I liked it. And like then like when they announced the Elton John one, I was just like, well, yeah, he deserves one, but like, do we need to do it now? Like, there's so many people who should have one that don't, and they've been dead for years.
Like the Beatles.
Yeah,
but they're not dead yet.
No,
so,
they're not exactly.
They could do
like,
a John Lennon one, maybe.
Yeah, like exactly. And like, I don't know. Like, some of them are great, some of them aren't. It depends. I think what I don't like about biopics is like it's all kind of hearsay. Like we don't know what actually happened.
I gotcha.
And so unless it's like based on a book or something that like the artists themselves actually wrote, those ones tend to be a little bit better. But especially when you get into like I know the Bohemian Rhapsody was supposed to be a lot more like R-rated, and like then the band kind of stepped in and was like, no, you can't do that, which is fine. I wouldn't want like certain details, like sketchy details put out about my life either, but it's more so like you're now censoring the story. And it's like, so is that actually how it happened? So I always kind of take biopics with a grain of salt. Like I always assume like this is just a storied version of the actual events.
Yeah, it's like semi-biographical.
Yeah.
Fiction.
So,
yeah.
And some done very well. And I enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's my favorite. But NWA's, like Straight Outta Compton, was amazing.
I like that one too, yeah.
But I just like Queen more than NWA, so that's probably why I like that movie more. But
I'm trying to think of like a biopic that I'm just like, that's the biopic.
Bohemian Rhapsody for me.
I don't know. I don't think I have one.
No. Motley Crue's is like so much lower budget than Straight Outta Compton and Bohemian Rhapsody was, but I still did like it.
I never watched that one.
No. It's kind of corny, but
I can't do Motley Crue.
You don't like Motley Crue?
I mean, some of their riffs are great. Like some of their songs I can definitely get behind, but like I just think as people, I'm just like I can't do Motley Crue.
Yeah, they're all shitty. Yeah. Except for Mick Mars. No, for sure. Like, they are all shitty. Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't need to know. I had to watch a movie to prove what I already know.
Yeah. Glam rock. I used to
all the Motley Crue fans.
It's true though. They're all really shitty.
Then the music's fine. Like Shout at the Devil, great record.
Yeah.
There's so many good like riffs on that record.
I do like their music a lot. But yeah, they're all pretty shitty. Like Vince Neil killed somebody.
Yeah.
And like, we could go on. But glam rock, I was really into it when I was a kid. But as I get older, I'm like, it's not that good anymore. Like, I don't think it's like good music. I don't know.
Some of it can be. T-Rex is great. Love T-Rex. There's definitely good glam. The Sweet, they're pretty cool.
And like Kiss is glam rock, even though they're like 15 years
New York
before
Dolls,
it was a thing.
even like they were more like punky glam. But there's definitely great glam stuff. David Bowie, even.
Yeah, I guess that'd be. Yeah, I love David Bowie.
Yeah, so, but there is a lot of bad glam too, and then there's some that's just like almost like novelty glam, where it's, and I mean even like Kiss sometimes falls under that, where it's like, do I like it? No, but it's fun. Like all like 80s Kiss. Like I like, there's albums in the 70s that I do think like the first Kiss record. Like I always say, like if Kiss released that first record and then broke up, that would be the most legendary record possibly of all time. Because you have four guys who aren't even showing their faces on the cover. It's this great rock and roll record. It's really rough sounding. It's pretty much wall to wall good songs. Like I don't think there's a bad song on the first Kiss album. I mean, other people might disagree, but I love the first Kiss record. And if they broke up after that record, that would be this weird thing that you'd find in a record bin where you're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then you'd put it on and you'd be blown away. Like Strutter would come on and you'd just be like, sold.
Yeah.
But like, so like a part of me wishes, like I would love to see that timeline.
Yeah.
We got the otother timeline. And
When they got like too famous and then people don't like them.
Yeah. And like then they took the makeup off and like the 80s stuff. Again, fun, but there's a lot of terrible songs on those records too.
Yeah. Hard Luck Woman is my favorite rock ballad.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
And I think Peter Criss does not get his due in that band. Like his vocals is very Rod Stewart-y.
Yeah.
But like a lot of Peter Criss songs I think are underrated. Even like Beth. Like Beth is the biggest Kiss song probably, even though it's a ballad.
Yeah.
Like I think it is the most like highest
More
selling.
than Detroit Rock City, you think? Yeah.
I think so. Well, because Detroit Rock City, I think, if I remember correctly, I think Detroit Rock City was supposed to be the A side, and then Beth was the B side.
Oh, is it that they're on a 40? They're on the same 45.
I believe so.
Wow.
And then the popularity of Beth was so big, they like ended up switching it.
Wow.
If I remember correctly, I believe it was Detroit Rock City. But
we saw them in October at
I've never
Little
seen
Caesars.
them. I've seen Ace Frehley.
Oh,
He played a free show in Detroit once. But yeah, I've never seen.
is he alive?
Yeah, they're all alive. No, Eric Carr died, but the original four are alive.
When I saw them, only Simmons and Stanley were playing with them. Though. Yeah. It was amazing. That was one of the best shows I've ever seen in October.
As far as much as I've been told, they played on a very good show.
Technically it's their last show, so technically I heard Detroit Rock City in Detroit for the last time.
That's cool. Yeah,
but they'll play another show. And it won't be, but like, man, he's Paul Stanley's like 75 or something, 72, whatever, and he went on the freaking rope thing and went all the way from the stage to his little star stage, played like 3 songs like right in front of us. And like, man, he's old for doing that stuff. Like,
yeah,
but he's still got the pipes. He's doing good up there. Cause I saw the Who 10 years ago, and like
Roger Daltrey couldn't do it.
Well, he did, and then he almost like died.
Yeah.
He was like,
I don't think I've ever been to. Blondie, I think, was the most disappointing band I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some.
But like, I mean, it was cool that I got to see Blondie, but I think that was probably the one show where I was like, because it was at Riot Fest in Chicago, and we left, like we went to a different stage.
Wow.
And I'm like, I love Blondie, so that was tough, but that was probably the one band that I would say was the most disappointing. Could have just been an off day, but. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to a concert where I was like, that was terrible. Or like where something happened where I was just like, that was so unfortunate.
I've been to a few where they sucked.
Really?
Yeah. I always say like sometimes like concerts can be like a hit or miss. I don't know. Sometimes they suck, and sometimes the unexpected ones.
I will say that there's definitely been times when like I'll see an unexpected show and I'll be like, that was great. Mm-hmm. And then I'll see a show that it was just okay. Yeah. And I was really looking forward to it, and it was fine. But
my favorite shows are always like L Club or even like local shows. Like I've had more fun at Fog more times than I've had fun at huge concerts.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh, for sure.
We saw. Oh, go.
Well, I was just gonna say, did you see Psychic Void at Dropped on Truelard?
No, but I've seen Psychic Void multiple times.
I mean, they're always great, but like that was something. Like it was like the end of the day. I don't know how many people were on like that lawn in front of the stage, but it was like definitely like a sold out audience, like for any venue we have in Windsor.
Yeah.
And like,
I was down the street while they were playing. Like we just had gone there.
My booth was there and I left it and I was like, I'm going to go watch this. It was great. It was so high energy, and like for a punk band, usually you want to see a punk band in a smaller venue, but like they made use of the stage, and it was so great.
We saw, I went and saw Strike Tyson at that Cherry, that new place. Man, that was one of the funnest shows I've ever been to.
I heard it was like terrifying.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild pit. The craziest mosh pit I've ever been in was at a Lattice Butte show. I've been to 3. Yeah. And it's probably the 3 craziest mosh pits I've ever seen. But it was like, so the first band was Your Rich Friends, and Tay was just on the podcast. And I was like, this floor's a little like bouncy. Mm-hmm. And then Strike Tyson went up, And the nice thing about them is they sound incredible. And they're only playing covers. So you know every song. And they sound so, like, he is so good. And then they have another guy screaming. And they kind of go back between, like, pop punk and, like, emo songs. Mm-hmm. And then the first thing he says is jump. And my wife just looks at me and she's like, no. And I was like, fuck it, I'm jumping. So we were jumping. I, like, almost got double bounced. Like, that's how much this floor. And then the pit, like, they played for, like, probably almost 2 hours. Crazy pit. They did, like, a wall of death. Like, he went and stood in the middle of it, the guy who screams, and he's like, and they just, like, crushed in on him. It was a good show.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
I think I was out of town that day. But
have you seen them before?
I have not. I have done so many posters for them. And actually working on one right now.
For Windsor?
Yeah.
Do you know when it is? Because I want to put it in my calendar.
I have it written down. So
okay, all right, yeah.
But so I've not seen them yet, but I'll probably go to that one if I'm free that night, which I hopefully am.
Yeah, I miss a lot as a wedding photographer.
I'm just finding, I did weddings for one summer, and like every Saturday it's like gone. Mm-hmm. But like I'm finding just in my old age, it's just harder to get out to every single, and I want to, like, there's so many bands that like are from in Windsor, bands that will come through, like the Fucked Up show that just happened like a few months ago, last month or whatever, at Meteor. Couldn't go to that. I was super bummed. And then Fucked Up ended up putting it on their Bandcamp, like the performance at Meteor.
Oh, wow.
Which was cool. They did like a 24-hour promo. And so like you could listen to the whole concert. And I was like, I really should have went to that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, so.
One of my favorite shows, they come to Windsor once, maybe twice a year, is the Cherry Garcia Band at Fog.
Oh, yeah. I saw them one of the times, like in the last year.
Yeah.
It was actually funny. So last year I went to Farm Aid.
Okay.
And Bob Weir? Yeah, Bob Weir.
Was there with Bob Weir and the Wolf Bros.
Yes. Yeah. So, and we we camped at like a Deadhead camp. Like their Wi-Fi password was like Forever Grateful. And like we didn't realize it when we got there, and then like we're like, there's a lot of Grateful Dead shirts here, and like they all knew each other, and like
there's a lot of nitrous balloons floating around.
And like so like literally the week I got back from seeing Farm Aid, I saw Cherry Garcia at Fog, and I was so like,
good.
Yeah, they're really good.
They play like Grateful Dead shows. They played for 3 hours in April at Fog. And they like they played the other one, which is like a 20-minute freaking song, and they transitioned into He's Gone, which is like one of my favorites. Oh, I was like, man, you guys are fucking crazy. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Where are they from?
Toronto. Well, she's from here though.
Oh, okay.
That's why they come so much. Gotcha. The singer, but they're in Toronto. Yeah. Man, Bob Weir's been on tour. Well, he's been on tour pretty much since 1964. Yeah. But they did a big, like, the last Deadhead tour last spring and summer, and I went to it. I went to a show. The fucking week they ended this tour, he went on tour when you saw him with the Wolf Bros all fall. Then in February, they do this, they have a resort in Cancun, and you go and for $1 million, and the Dead and Company plays 3 nights in a row. So the Dead and Company was supposed to be done in July. Then they do that. Then they did a whole residency in Vegas this whole spring and summer. Yeah. So this guy's like just doesn't stop.
No.
Just a monster.
And I lost my mind when he played because I didn't realize that Sturgill Simpson was in his band for that. I don't know how long he was in the band for, or how many shows he did, but like I love Sturgill Simpson. And then we were pretty far away, but they had the screens up, and they like zoomed in on like Sturgill Simpson playing guitar, and I like saw the tattoo on his hand, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Sturgill Simpson. I'm like, I lost my mind, and I was so happy because he's just incredible. And then he ended up, so it was a total surprise, and like that he was there. The whole night was a surprise. Bob Dylan played. He wasn't supposed to with the Heartbreakers, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
That was a shitty show I saw. Bob Dylan.
Yeah. I hear that a lot.
Saw him at the Fox. It was terrible.
Yeah, I've a lot of people have told me that Dylan is not the best to see live, but I got to see him for free, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, he was a surprise. So, and like, again, the Heartbreakers were his backing band. And so like that was, again, that whole day was just, it was like a revolving door of surprises. And
But you saw Sturgill Simpson, Bob Weir, and Bob Dylan the same day. That's a fucking day.
Willie Nelson, Neil Young, Margot Price, Willie Nelson, Lucas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. It was like it was 12 hours of music. And it was just about like John Mellencamp, Dave Matthews.
Yeah. That's a hell of a show. I haven't seen Neil Young. I'd like to.
I've seen him 3 times now.
It's good.
Yeah. He's great. He's always a great.
Sounds like him.
Yeah. Sometimes he played a great show at the WSCU Center once.
Yeah, I remember that.
And everybody left because it was just noisy. And I loved every second of it. And like, yeah, people were walking out because I think they were all expecting like acoustic guitars and stuff. And it was Neil Young and Crazy Horse. And I always say, like, if it's Crazy Horse, it's going to be loud. If it's Neil Young, it's going to be acoustic and like more traditional.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played like a 10-minute version of like just like noise, and it was great.
Yeah, they do like at the Dead and Company shows, they do like drum space, so like 20 minutes of them just going ham on like big drums. And like if you don't understand what's going on, you're like, why am I even here? Yeah. But no, it's cool.
Yeah. Ann Wilson from Heart, that was a surprise too. Oh, and then like so it was the guy that owns the Colts. Jim Irsay. Yeah.
Like the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like he came out because he donates a bunch of money to Farm Aid, and so they always let him perform. And then all of a sudden he's like, and now we're going to do Comfortably Numb. And here's Kenny Wayne Shepherd playing like the guitar that was used to record the solo in Comfortably Numb.
Jeez.
And like, again, like it was a revolt. Like if you're a music lover, it's just like nonstop. It's surprises.
What was this called?
It's Farm Aid.
Where is that?
They do it different places every year. So last year was in Indiana.
Okay.
So it was like close enough. They were like, well, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I saw Dead and Company in Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati.
Is John Mayer playing with them?
Yeah. Which he's amazing too.
Yeah, he is.
Ever since like I've learned that like he plays with them, I've dove like more into his stuff, and like he's one of the greatest.
Well, I was like,
players.
and that's the thing. Like I remember when like Bodies of Wonderland came out when I was in high school, and I was just like, no, thank you. And then seeing him actually play guitar, you're like, oh no, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But and like he's got a little sense of humor that I like. I loved his record Sob Rock.
Yeah.
And then he had the nice price sticker on the shrink wrap. I was like, that's great. But
yeah, like some of his there's like Your Body's a Wonderland. First of all, like, yeah, that's a whatever, like it's a kind of a corny song, but it's also like one of the greatest probably songs ever. Like it's an amazing song. Like not one of the greatest songs ever, but like that's a huge song.
It is a huge song.
It's a very original song. It's like just it's a huge song.
Yeah.
Like very, very famous song. But then he's got like some of his like Slow Dancing in a Burning Room is like one of my favorites. His guitar solo on that is like absolutely insane. His stuff's cool because he's like playing these like really soft songs with like just gnarly electric guitar. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
He did an acoustic tour, which he said in like a podcast that it was like really fun for him and everything. But like, I think yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you got it, show it off.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny. We talked about you for the first hour and then music for the second hour. That I always get to music. I think it's because like I'm such a fan of music that like I always end up talking about music. Yeah. And everybody that's on is an artist. Everybody there's not an artist in the world that doesn't like music.
Yeah. No, it's almost impossible.
Oh, I wanted to ask you one thing. Do you follow like, or are you a fan of like Andy Warhol?
Yeah.
Guys like him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Andy Warhol. Actually, I would say he's a influence. I mean, it's hard to say because like, I'm sure he's influenced everybody in a way, but like in the art crowds, people tend to kind of poo-poo him because he's too manufactured.
Yeah, he's got too famous. Yeah.
But like, I still get excited when I see Andy Warhol like stuff. It's too like it's everything, like the messiness of it. I love the mass producing of it. I love the idea of like mass producing art, and I know it's like kind of goes against art.
No, it's cool.
But like at the same time, like I love packaging design. I love I love toys. I don't collect toys, but I love toys. I love the idea of selling things to people, and like the fact that like people use psychology to sell, and like I don't know, like there's something about like how people will tap into nostalgia to sell a product. Like that's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And even though it's like kind of, it can be crooked and dirty and like that they're trying to trick you into buying a product, but there's something about that that's kind of interesting to me, and how people do gravitate towards mass production and stuff like that. And Andy Warhol was smart, and I'm sure he ruffled feathers, and I'm sure he screwed people over, and I don't know, maybe he wasn't a good dude, but like I still think what he did was amazing. And like he helped form the Velvet Underground, and Underground is probably one of the, like,
he used to hang out at his studio
yeah. And like he did their album cover, the first two at least, and like he kind of formed them, if he at least takes credit for it. And because he would have like these big parties, and then he'd just be like, okay, you guys are going to form a band, and we're going to have these big parties, and it's going to be this big collective. And like, I think I don't know if he was the first to do that, but he was the most known person to do that.
I love art parties.
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
Yeah. And like, apparently he only paid like $50 a month for his studio.
Damn.
Like, yeah, it was a big warehouse.
Damn.
But, yeah, like I'm definitely influenced by Andy Warhol. I'm not going to say I'm not.
Yeah.
I still get very excited when I'm in a art gallery and we walk by the Andy Warhol section.
Who are some of your like influences?
Like Raymond Pettibon's a big one. He did like the Black Flag artwork and like a lot of punk related artwork. Tons of show posters and stuff like that. But he like did the Black Flag logo.
Yeah, like the four.
Yeah, the four bars.
Yeah.
And like he's brothers with the main guy from Black Flag.
Like Henry Rollins?
No, Greg Ginn.
Okay.
So like I believe his real name is like Raymond Ginn or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that. They don't get along. But but yeah, so he did like all their original artwork and stuff like that. And then there's tons of artists. I love Mike Judge, like Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. Those are huge influences. The Simpsons, like cartoons have always been a huge influence on me, but like gig poster artists for sure, Frank Kozik, and like the list goes on. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I know. Like if you ask me right now, like I would forget my 5 favorites. You know, it's hard on the spot. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and there's cool movement. Like gig poster artwork was so huge in the early 2000s. I mean, it's always been huge. Gary Grimshaw, that's another one. He's from Detroit. He used to do like all the MC5 artwork, and like he would do stuff for the Grandy Ballroom. So like he's done posters for Cream and Jimi Hendrix and all that stuff. And like,
that's cool.
Yeah, and like he did that big MC5 like bird that's really popular. And but Brian Ewing, he's a great artist. And then there's a good chunk of the early 2000s where gig poster artwork was like almost more popular than the bands. Like people would go to shows to get the big screen printed posters rather than like going to see the band. And then that kind of ended around the time I started doing gig posters. And then everything kind of switched to like movie posters. And so all those artists kind of switched for the most part and started doing movie posters. And then like this whole new generation of movie poster artists started coming out, like Gary Pullen and Jason Edmonston and like Matt Ryan Tobin and Sarah Deck. And like there's a bunch of like artists that are from all over that do movie posters.
I've never done a show that you did the poster for that at least one person didn't ask for the poster when they came to the show.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Like I love when I go into a venue and there's posters everywhere, and when I'm leaving, they're all gone.
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite. Like that's when I know I did a good job.
Yeah, I'm going to start, now that you say all that stuff too, I'm like the next time I do one, I'm going to bring a stack.
Yeah.
And just leave it on the table because they're only like 30 cents.
Yeah.
Is that what they are at Staples?
Like, yeah. Like,
yeah, 30 cents.
You get like the loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, you know, I keep that wall, but it's full. So I don't know what to do. I can't have any more shows because the wall's full. So I don't know where else to put it. Yeah, no, I'm going to do that next time. That's a good idea for me to do. I think that's pretty much it. Like that's all the questions I had. That's good. That was 2 hours.
Oh, nice.
Is there anything else you wanted to say, or you can tell everybody where they can like follow you?
Sure. Pretty much Instagram is the best way to follow us. I go by The Ugly Vision. So Instagram at The Ugly Vision. Yeah, I have theuglyvision.com, but I haven't updated it in forever. So it just links to my Instagram account. But yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me.
Sweet. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's a good one. They've all been 2 hours lately. Everyone